Well, good morning, everyone. It's good to be back. Got my car fixed, got the mirror sorted, that's great. Beautiful sunny morning here in Blackmans Bay, and I thought I'd just run a quick clip and see how this goes driving itself to Woolies and test some auto parking. Hopefully it can see some spots and we can give that a go and see how well it parks. And as per someone else's suggestion, I might grab some footage this evening as well to see how it goes at dusk, and it might end up being sort of all together in one video. So let's give it a go. So I got a warning yesterday afternoon that the mirror was needed, the windscreen needed cleaning at the front there, and then the camera couldn't see so well out of there, and it has only just come back from the repair shop and as clean as it can be. Online, some of the Tesla testers, I don't know if it's AI Driver or Dirty Tesla fella, he explains that it's actually an issue of fogging up inside that little housing that houses the camera. So he shows you how to take it apart and clean it yourself. But also something apparently the Tesla dealership should be able to do for you as well. So we'll see how it goes. It hasn't complained this morning. It could have been just at dusk yesterday with the sun glaring through the windscreen, triggering that notification. I have had some strange behaviours in the last week with FSD. It's definitely got a little while to go, but it's still, fun testing it nevertheless. And it still handles most situations very, very well. Apparently the latest version 14, or one of the latest ones that dropped in the US, was a fair bit of a regression in terms of how smooth it was. It sort of did a lot of micro braking, and it seemed to be unsure quite a lot of the time, a bit as if it was like a bit of a nervous driver. And the guys like Dirty Tesla and that have been sort of testing through the different iterations. They just went without. I didn't have any clear vision there behind the bus. I'm not sure if the Tesla did or not, but I normally would have waited to see if a car was going to come around. Anyway, back to that. So he said, if you want to enjoy a decent smooth drive, don't upgrade. Just stay on 13.2.9. It's far smoother. It's not quite as capable, but yes, far smoother. With version 14, it kind of can go end to end from like a garage to another parking lot, another garage for you, whereas this generally just pulls over in the near vicinity. Now here's another thing. So this is a 90 zone. It's hit 90, and I've had this just drop to 30 for no reason. We'll just see if it does it again. I don't know what it's seeing and why it thinks it's suddenly 30, but it's doing fine right now. just boosting it back up to 90, reminding it it's allowed to go 90. Tire pressure monitoring is handy to have. I've got a very slow leak in my front right tyre. Got to give it a couple of PSI every few days. I have to get that looked at. Not sure if it's too slow to find the leak or not. So coming out of Blackmans Bay into Kingston, it's around to it gets very busy as school starts, mixes with peak hour. It's pretty good at the moment. Never had an issue on this roundabout with FSD. It's always handled every way I've needed to go on it just fine. Taking that opportunity perfectly. I have noticed since moving to Tasmania that there's a lot of drivers that do tend to go at least 10 k's under the speed limit. Everyone's just a bit more relaxed around here, not as much in a hurry to be anywhere. And pulling into the Kingston car park, I'll probably have to take over to select a parking spot, I think. We'll just see what happens. I think it's going to try and go on the... Let's have a look. Looks like it's trying to go in the direct to boot pickup. Yep, which would be great if I had an order ready to pick up, which I don't. So I'm just going to take over and go for a little cruise around and see if it recognises any parking spots. I might just get out of the main section. Don't annoy people if it takes its time to try and park. See what happens here. There's one. I'm going to pick that one. And ready we go. Auto park. Well, that was flawless. Well done. Well, that's it for this bit. We'll do some more later this afternoon and bring it together for a video. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another video where we are going to test how this thing goes at dusk. It's a little bit past dusk into the evening, but it's still worth a little go. Someone suggested to give it a go. We're at my usual starting point in Blackmans Bay, and we're going to head over to Sandy Bay and then to Battery Point. We're going to go the back way down. Instead of the southern outlet, we'll go on the back road into Sandy Bay and just see how it goes at night and around some of the windier stuff. And so I've joined by my friend Ned, and this is his second time experiencing FSD, but he might have a fair few questions that I might be able to answer. It'll push and test my knowledge of all things Tesla and FSD, and we'll have some fun. Here we go.
Sweet. How cool.
Will it do this in one turn? No. I was going to say, yeah. It's like, I got a bit too keen. It's like, you could have backed out a little bit further and then done that in one turn. Bit of a noob backing out, that was. Like my daughter on oil plates.
Yeah, some things it seems like it does really well from the first draft that we did. And sometimes it still seems like it's learning what it's doing.
Yeah, and a lot of time the issues we have are mapping issues. Like I wouldn't have gone this way. Should be alright, but interesting, like just the maps choose random ways to go and the car's just going to follow the map.
Yep. Does that change at different times of day?
Yeah. So I guess it's what it thinks is the quickest. And it might be, it goes a route that you'd never normally drive. But yeah, you've got to sort of distinguish between a self-driving feature and a Tesla mapping feature. It's sort of two different things. So, car on the left, cars on the right. I don't think I've tested this in the evening before, so it will be interesting. Apologies for the bird poop that's just shown up on the windscreen. Probably smear it if I try and clean it, so we'll go with a few dots. Let's get it.
And spurts.
So coming out of Blackmans Bay.
I'm just impressed by how smooth it is, though.
Yeah, my wife said that when we first put it on, she's like, I'm just going to get you to engage that all the time when you're driving me. She's like, it's so much smoother and safer feeling than you are when you drive. I'm like, thanks, that's a great word.
Yeah, that's really nice. Thank you.
What a wonderful comment. Wonderful for Tesla, not so much for me. Bit of a lead foot.
Sometimes it's fun.
Yeah.
Whereas this is kind of relaxed chauffeur vibes.
Very much relaxed chauffeur vibes, yeah. Yeah, and it would be I'm really keen to get the other driving mode. So here we go. Here it's happened again. We're looking at it thinks it's 30, so instead of 90, and I just can't read now. And I put my hit accelerator. It knows it's 90, so I don't know if it gets it from the map or if it realizes it's made a mistake. I don't understand, but it just sometimes reads speed signs completely wrong, and you accelerate a little bit past, and then it goes, oh, okay, fair enough, that's actually 90. So it's like, well, if you knew, why did you go down to 30? So, yeah. And this is a common thing. We found this a lot when drove it from Campbelltown down to Hobart. It was reading 110 as 100 and then sometimes 70. So they need to do a better job of visualizing street and speed signs. We'll see what it does. Is another 90? Will it stay a 90? Yeah, that one is fine.
Yeah, that would actually suck if it went down to 30.
Yeah, it's kind of frustrating when you're trying to, you're hoping to help you relax on a long trip, and you're constantly having to correct it for its speed, and you're going 110 and suddenly you drop to 70 and the guys behind you are like, what are you doing?
It's not their fault.
Yeah, exactly. But it's part of what we're doing is kind of just tracking the progress. So obviously it's not perfect, and what part of the idea of this channel is just have a look at how it does progress. I mean, compared to the auto steer in my first video, which is pretty cool. I mean, this just blows it away, and it's only going to get better.
Yeah, it's actually really awesome. So in terms of what it uses to see, It's only the cameras that it has.
Yes. Yeah, only the cameras.
So at night time now, how does it adjust itself to see better?
From what I gather, the cameras it uses, I don't believe are like the same cameras that we would use generally for like what we're filming this in. So it's not necessarily limited both the dynamic range of a standard film camera or our eyes. Like it's actually got a much bigger dynamic range, and so it could take in darker darks and lighter lights, and take in the whole spectrum.
Okay.
Yeah, so it can actually see better than you can. So we kind of think that, if it's cameras, we understand that, video cameras of a particular, could cope with low light, like this video, will start to struggle with the low light from this Action 4 camera, or they blow out with highlights. But I think the dynamic range of the cameras they've got are far higher. And I was saying in a previous video, I just saw a post about them actually removing in the next AI chip they're bringing out, that they're building. They're removing the image sensor in the camera because they don't need it, because they don't actually do image sensing. They actually just do raw photons of light, and so that's kind of mind blowing. It's like, oh wow, if you just take raw photons of light, then you're just capturing so much more than what even we can really understand is going on around you, and then processing that. So I'm no expert. It'd be good to see if someone wants to kind of expound on that a bit for us, what that actually means and looks like. But it's kind of a wild thought.
That's actually kind of crazy. That'd be cool though. I would like to know more around that.
Yeah, so like my second video I made was just looking at the difference between the camera approach and the LiDAR and camera approach, and that basically Tesla was have always been said that we don't need LiDAR. There's extra expense that we don't need to spend. And if humans can drive successfully with their limited vision, then with just cameras all around the car, they're seeing more than we are to start with. And with cameras that can see more of the spectrum than we can, surely that's enough. And so, and it looks like they're probably going to deliver on that. Another commenter I read about on LiDAR, he works in industry, like he develops LiDAR, and he said that LiDAR's great, but if you've got two competing systems, so if you've got LiDAR and cameras, your issue is that someone's got to make a decision about who's right, and so you actually bring in introduce a potential more complex scenario where you've got two competing systems, one saying one thing, one saying another, and then you have to actually try and figure out a way to say, well, who's right in this situation, and which one are you going to go with. So it can actually add more complexity to have. So I always thought, why not have as many redundancies as you can? Want to have LiDAR, infrared, everything on the spectrum. And it's similar to in Terminator 2, when he turns the lights off, he's driving away, and John Connor's like, oh, can you even see anything? And he's like, I see everything. And all of a sudden he's moving through and see everything going on. I thought, well, why wouldn't you do that in your car? Use as much technology as possible, be even safer. But it was really interesting that particular scenario of, yeah, that's great, but then you have to make the decision of which one is right. So sometimes it's a bit simple to just have one system, and that's got the one that makes the call. If that makes sense. Not sure if it does, but anyway.
That being a hybrid system, if you,
Yeah, like I was thinking, well, why wouldn't they have LiDAR and, as a fail-safe, as a backup for situations where the cameras aren't as good? But yeah, it was sort of, the guy was commenting and saying, well, it introduces a whole lot more complexity, so you're kind of better off, in some ways, just sticking with just cameras and just working it out that way.
yeah, that's true. Because you'd probably then have to have a separate software or something that would understand both and then reason between
Yeah,
one or the other.
yeah, exactly. I'd have to make a call. Anyway, yeah, I mean, there's other companies out there like the Zooks that have just released their cars in testing it in Las Vegas, and they are once again level 4, completely autonomous, but set to a specific set of streets, and where they can go is fairly restricted. And they're LiDAR and everything, and they obviously have their place. But what Tesla's trying to achieve is more the level 4. They're actually trying to achieve level 5, where it doesn't need to be pre-mapped, it doesn't need to be pre-trained on anything. Mm-hmm. It can encounter a new situation and know what to do, just like a human has to. And that's a much more difficult prop solve. But if they can solve it, they'll be streaks ahead of everyone else. And it's probably something that LiDAR probably by itself cannot solve. So yeah, maybe in level 4, with Waymo and Zooks and whatnot, maybe in that particular scenario, it's good to do what they're doing, and it's perfect for that scenario, and that's great. But that's not necessarily what Tesla's trying to achieve here. And so, even though this is theoretically still level 2, in a majority of situations, it's essentially a level 5. It's just allowed to be called that for accountability, liability, and insurance reasons. Better to stick with level 2, where you can put the onus back on the driver. Like, I have to. If this crashes, it's on me. Tesla won't take responsibility. I've said that I'm watching, and I'll take over if necessary. So, I think it's going to be quite a while before, like, you would have to have a super amount of confidence before you could say you can fall asleep, and the onus is on us if there's a problem. Like, the word Tesla would go, risk getting the sort of, the amount of lawsuits which would bury them for the company. Long time before they're going to actually cop to that.
Yeah, and there's parts where, like, this is driving really well. It's doing a great job. But you can see where some of the intuitive training or intuition, like when we were driving in town before, and we had 700 meters to cross 2 lanes of traffic, it was just sort of taking its time to get there. Is that the sort of training that you're meaning? Well, they go, make that decision quicker to change lanes into the correct lane sort of as soon as possible.
Yeah, well, in that scenario, I kind of ran out of patience with it. Like, I understand the level of traffic that's going on here. If I turn in soon, then I'm going to be forcing my way in and pushing myself through, and people are going to be kind of pretty pissed off. And so, yeah, you just, as a driver, you're trying to think of the whole scenario around you. It's peak hour. There's plenty of traffic. I should be starting to get into the right lane well in advance of where I need to turn left. And yeah, just try to be courteous and thoughtful of others. Whereas, and in the end of the day, I actually pressed the blinker button to force it to move over, because it was getting down to, a few hundred meters when it still hadn't done it. It's like, well, if you don't get in now, you're going to be holding people up behind you while you try and get in. and that's just not. That's people just get annoyed, and that's not cool. So yeah, I think that's one thing where they have to really help it to become more human-like in understanding more situational awareness, and it has to have that. And it comes to it. Imagine it comes to a problem where so there's an accident on the road, or someone's being run over, or there's an emergency vehicle, and you've got to think about, okay, the car's going to be able to go, what am I going to do here? I'm going to pull over, I'm going to turn, am I going to go on the wrong side of the road to get around the problem? Am I going to stop and help? There's just so much of that stuff that it needs to be able to decide on its own, to be able to call truly level 5s.
But then it's doing it kind of perfectly.
Yeah.
There's no lines on the road. I've driven this road quite a bit myself, and it's tricky, especially this time of day. And you've got cars on the side parked, and then cars coming towards you, and this is still navigating that well.
Yeah.
Like it's going, I've got enough space to go around the car parked, and the car that's coming towards me, that's perfectly fine. And it's not hesitating, it's just driving.
Yeah, it's actually really awesome. There's every chance that that we're the first Tesla at this time of night on that road. And that's the sort of thing it's got to deal with, and it's doing a great job. It's well on its way there.
Yeah, it's really comfortable. That's awesome. Good job, little guy. Yeah, that's actually really impressive. Because that's not the easiest bit of road.
Yeah, so we're going to Battery Point, Sandy Bay, then Battery Point. I don't really know what it's doing here, but there we go. So we got, okay, so it's going to do completely wrong, so I'm just going to have to take over. So the car went to the wrong side of the road and didn't correct itself and make way for the oncoming car. So there you go, there's a live update that we had to intervention, so it's a full intervention. Looks like it wasn't sure what to do, and it's basically pulled over. Sort of oncoming cars, there's no space, I'll just pull over and wait for the other car, but it's pulled over on the right hand side of the road, and yeah, it's not really what normal human would have done there. Sandy Bay Road now.
Do you think that would partly be having such a big left-hand drive data set?
Yeah, I wonder actually. I wonder if they purge that data set for Australia, or if they sort of use it but go, you need to adjust, and for the opposite side of the road. I really don't know.
So, because it was kind of like a wigged out, and then just when I'm going this side.
Yeah, which in the US, that would have been the right thing to do. It's kind of like, yeah, I wonder actually if that's what's going on there. And we are the first, us in New Zealand, we're Australia's first. I think New Zealand's got it too now, but the first two right-hand drive, left-hand side of the road, countries in the world to get FSD. So its majority of training data is US, and they released it in China about 6 months ago.
Okay, nice.
And apparently when they released it in China, they didn't have any training data in China. They just used it from photos. They trained it on photos of the street and stuff. So that's pretty insane. And if you look at the traffic in China, it's just ridiculous. So, and there were issues apparently, but it still did pretty well. I wonder how it's doing now, whether it's a lot better. I have no idea where we're going. I just set Battery Point, so it's just gone to somewhere in the middle of Battery Point. We'll go to.
Sweet. I used to live around here.
Oh, cool.
The Kelly steps.
Yeah, it's a lovely some of the old housing here and the architecture is just gorgeous. Love walking around here.
Yeah, he's really lovely.
Yeah, if
He's
you
got
ever-
walks down on the wharf and
Yeah.
around the waterside.
If you ever visit Hobart, you go into the middle of the city, it's worth going for a walk up to Battery Point and just walking around and just looking at some of the old houses and the streets. Just gorgeous architecture. Looks like it's going to stop at the D'Angelo restaurant. So we'll see if it pulls over.
Yeah, South Street as well.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay, it's going to pull over and around the spot.
Okay.
Oh, this guy's. Oh. It's going to pull over here. Yep, so there you go. There's your Dusk to Evening Drive. I had one intervention. It wasn't really dangerous, but it just went on the wrong side of the road to pull over. So, yeah, that's it. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much.